Howdy, howdy do, Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And this is episode 257.
Yes.
One day, I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. Until then, there must be no regrets, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine.
Our lives are different to anybody else's. That's the exciting thing. Nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow, so the TARDIS should be free of the force field now.
You may be a doctor, but I'm the doctor. The definite article, you might say.
The trouble with time travel is, one never seems to find the time.
Change, my dear, and it seems not a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
I am the Doctor!
For now, for this moment, I am the Doctor again.
The ground beneath our feet is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, and the entire planet is hurtling around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour, and I can feel it. We're falling through space, you and me.
People assume that time is a strict progression of cause to effect, but actually, from a non-linear, non-subjective viewpoint, it's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
I could be a curator. I'd be great at curating. I'd be the great curator.
I could retire and do that.
I'm the Doctor. I've lived for over 2,000 years, and not all of them were good. I've made many mistakes, and it's about time that I did something about that.
Bit of adrenaline, dash of outrage, and a hint of panic knitted my brain back together. I know exactly who I am. I'm the Doctor. Sorting out fair play throughout the universe.
Howdy, howdy do, Who fans, welcome back. This is episode 257. I hope you've all had a cracking week and that you've all managed to do something Doctor Who related. Yay. Welcome back, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Missed you last week.
Yeah, well, I listened in. I had a listened in.
Yeah, of course you did.
Just to check. Can't believe you thought I'd buy that blimmin' Build-A-Bear. I was like, I just had the podcast on in the background just to listen in, see, because I wanted to see what you thought of the episode, obviously. Before we recorded today, I thought, well, I better just check out whether you liked last week's. So I'm pottering around the house doing a few bits of the podcast on, listening to you waffling away. And then I heard you get to the Build-A-Bear bit and you were like, I know that my co-host will be ordering this. And I was like, what? I nearly dropped the plates. I don't want that. I don't want that blimmin' thing.
You're joking. That's. I would have thought that would be right up your street, mate.
No, I'm going to be honest.
Oh, no.
No, I mean, it's cute. I kind of agree with you. It's cute. But I'm not for 50 quid or whatever they are.
Right,
no.
Right.
And also, I've got to agree with you about the 10th Doctor thing. What is it? Well, that they do that 10th Doctor with the 3D specs all the time. When you mentioned it, I was like, yeah, they do, don't they? And it was like literally one episode, wasn't it, that he did that?
I think I could be wrong. I said that at the time. I think
don't know.
Yeah. I only remember it in one episode that he had those 3D specs on.
Yeah.
But they seem to have assigned that as like the thing that the 10th Doctor wears throughout all of Doctor Who for some reason. It's
I know,
strange,
which I thought was quite funny. I thought, yeah, that's so true. Actually, no, I mean, I agree with it. The bear, very cute, but it won't be. I'm looking at it now. I actually prefer if I was gonna get one. I actually like the 13th Doctor one. I'm
saying this now, listeners.
I'm not going to get one.
Before the year's out, you'll see an unboxing video on the Geeks Handbag.
You won't.
Of Adam unboxing the Build-A-Bear.
No, not unless I get sent one free to review, because no, I wouldn't pay. It's the price as well. They're about 50 quid, aren't they?
That's true. They are.
Don't you have to buy all the bits extra as well? So you end up spending about...
No, that's all in.
Oh, that's all in, is it?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
wow, I'm surprised, mate. Yeah.
I'm looking at it now. I'm coming round. I'm coming round to it.
I'll just say it, right? Before the end of the year, there will be a video on your YouTube channel, and it will be unboxing the Build-A-Bear.
We'll see.
It will be.
Yeah, I did laugh when you said it though, because I'd seen them before I went away. I was like, I'd seen them come up on the merch site, and I was like, what the heck is this? But yeah, so it just made me laugh when I heard you say that.
Fun times.
Fun times. Anyway. So yeah, I've been on my travels. Popped over to Amsterdam for a few days. Didn't drag my other half around the .2 locations. We've done that. We've done it. Mm-hmm. It's all good. We could actually just relax and enjoy it this time. And yeah, that was all good. Watched a bit of your live stream while I was over there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was. I must admit, it was a bit. My internet wasn't very good over there, so you were buffering a lot. But I did sort of tune in just to catch a bit of it. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Live stream.
Yes.
Do another one tonight.
You said you were going to do. I know. I actually said. Mm-hmm. So I heard you say that. I want to do these once a week. I actually turned to it half and said, "Oh, he's never going to." Once a week, we'll see. And yes, you are. You're doing another one. Well, it'll be tonight, but by the time the listeners hear the pod, it'll be
a few days
3 days ago.
Yes.
yeah. So, but you are doing another one, sticking to your word. So, yeah, good for you, man.
Yeah, it's a good crack on there.
Yes. Yeah. Well, good. It was nice actually to see all of our listeners getting to sort of interact a bit more with them and chat and stuff. Because I was recognizing a lot of names that were chatting to you on there as well, which is really cool.
Yeah, that was nice actually. I said at the beginning of that live stream that I expected to just be chatting to myself. There'd just be zero viewers and chatters and stuff.
Yeah, a few tumbleweeds going past.
Exactly that, yeah. So it was nice that, we had a bunch of people jump on. A lot of those were our listeners, which was really nice. And like you said, it's nice to interact with those guys and
definitely
and do that stuff. So, yep. I did say on that live stream as well that I would get you on there.
Yeah, well, I will. I've never done a YouTube live stream. I've done Insta and I've done Facebook. I think I've even done what's that Periscope thing that was popular for a while.
I even
did one, but I've never done YouTube. I'm sure it's very easy.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll be able to jump on at some point and join you.
Yeah, when you're not so knackered, dude. We'll sort that out for sure.
Well, I was hoping to be able to get an audio review over to you. As I said, for the Haunting of Villa, however you say it. But I just get a chance to do that. I may as well just say while we're talking about it, I did enjoy it. I thought it was a good episode. I agreed. If we had been doing the pod together last week, I pretty much agreed almost word for word with what you said. It was just a good episode, and it was very dark. The bit where the Cyberman broke that woman's neck and then went for the baby, I thought that was chilling.
That was cool, that bit.
Really, it was a very, very dark Cyberman story, and I enjoyed it. It's I think it's one I'll have to be in the mood for because it's a quite slow story. It builds and all that. So, but yeah, I don't really need to say anymore because pretty much it's one of those where I was just nodding along to everything you sort of said about. It's like, I agree with you there. Yeah. So yeah, a good story. And I think I even rated it the same. I think you gave it a 7.5, didn't you?
I did. Yes.
Yeah. Which is what I would have rated it as well. So we were very much on the same page on that one. I'm glad it felt like, because it does lead into this week's, but it didn't feel like it was just there to lead into this week's, if you know what I mean. It did have its own story and stuff. So I like that. It did feel like it wasn't just a sort of throwaway, sort of, okay, now we're into the final. It did feel like it had a bit more to it, which I thought was good. And obviously it did remind me a bit of Castrovalva. I said that at the time. I was like, wow, it's Castrovalva. They keep walking around the same room and stuff, which I thought was a nice little throwback. So, yeah.
Cool, man. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed that one.
Yeah. As I said, it's a dark episode, so it's probably one I've got to be in the mood to watch again. I've watched it twice now. And yeah, I just thought it was a good, very, very scary Cyberman. So the guy playing the Cyberman, blimmin' heck.
Great,
he's just, that shot when he threw that lid open and, oh, man. It was, very, very dark, but very good. So, good story.
Old Ashad.
Ashad.
Yep. That's his name, Ashad.
Oh, is it what, the actor's name or
the character's name? The lone Cyberman.
Is that what he's called?
Ashad. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. In the know, aren't we?
Are we giving Cybermen names now?
Well, it's
Are we going to get like Doug, the Cyberman? Look out for Doug.
Doug and Patrick.
Yeah.
The Cybermen.
Great. No, we've got Graham, haven't we? Wally the Cyberman's on the loose. Look out.
Yeah, so...
Sandra the Cyberman's not happy today.
Cassandra the Cyberman. Yeah. I guess we could name them all. But then again, you and I would never remember them, so it's a pointless exercise, isn't it?
No, that's true. That's true. Actually, talking of the names this week, quite a big cast this week. Yeah, don't expect me to remember any of the names, apart from Brendan, which for some reason has stuck in my mind. That's about the only name I can remember from this week, I think. We'll see when we get to it.
Yeah. A lot of names.
A lot of names, yeah. Quite a big cast this week. So that's been me, mate. I've been travelling on my travels, watching a bit of your live stream, watching Who, not really a lot else. Picked up the new Radio Times today. That's about the only other Who thing I've done. It's got like the sort of Bohemian Rhapsody Queen style cover of like the Doctor, Graham, Yaz and Ryan. Have you seen this yet?
I have, yeah. It's the black cover, isn't it? Like
the
floating heads kind of.
Yeah. I think it's a really dull cover, I've got to be honest. I only picked it up because it's Doctor Who. I looked at it, I just thought, wow, that is so boring. But a lot of people are loving it, so maybe I'm in the minority. But
yeah, well, I think that's because a lot of the branding and visual design language of Series 11 and 12 so far has been quite colourful, like bright and colourful. So when you see something like that, it's a little bit of a contrast.
But what's the Queen reference? Like what has that got to do? Or is it just...
I'm not sure. You'd have to... have you read the article inside yet about it?
No,
that might
I
explain.
literally only picked it up this morning, so no.
Yeah, that might explain why it's that way.
It might do.
I don't know.
Yeah. But that's the only other thing I've done, so that's me.
Okay, bud. Yeah, I've done very little Doctor Who, I'm afraid, other than setting up the new live stream and doing that, which is buckets of fun. Other than that, bud, I've watched, obviously, Ascension of the Cybermen a couple of times, but very little else in terms of doing Doctor Who stuff. I've not had the time to do it. Although I have rearranged my merch bookcase.
Oh.
So I had to switch a load of things around.
Where's the land speeder?
Oh, no, this is all Doctor Who now.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's the deal. So I've had to move all my Star Wars stuff onto the bigger bookcase because there was just running out of room. So I've still got a bunch of Doctor Who on a couple of shelves over here on the big one. But on the smaller one here, this is now all Doctor Who.
For the benefit of the listeners, whenever me and Gary record, because I like Star Wars, well, particularly the original trilogy, and he normally has this really cool, looks quite big land speeder behind him. And I always say, don't I? I always say to you, God, I love that. Where'd you get that land speeder? I really want one of those. And yeah, it's gone. And what have you replaced it with? It looks like Funko Pops, which I thought you'd got rid of them all.
Well, they're just the leftovers, mate. They're just the ones that I'm in two minds still about.
Oh, I can see the Capaldi in the spacesuit that you nearly gave me that until I told you it was worth 300 quid.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was nearly mine. My conscience just couldn't accept it because I knew that it was a rare one. Oh, I should have had that.
You should have just said, "Oh, that's worth."
I couldn't live
nothing,
with myself. Mate. You'd be like, because I thought if he pops around and says, "Where's that pop I gave you?" I'll be like, "Oh, I'd have to make an excuse because I would have sold it on eBay for about 400 quid because I've already got one." Yeah. Oh well, that's good. I'm glad you got a bit of Who behind you.
Yeah, it feels good. I need to still get a load of artwork and stuff up on the walls. It's still. Anyways, that's all I've done. Sort of Doctor Who-ish.
I just got a vision of like when Series 12 finishes, you just like. No, I'm bored of that now, and you'll just throw it all on the side. No, let's clear that shelf. Let's get something else. Ghostbusters or something.
Ghostbusters. Do you know what? Yeah, Hasbro have announced a bunch of really cool new Ghostbusters toys.
Actually, I saw that.
Yeah. So there we go. Anyways, we digress. Before we get cracking on with the rest of the show, we do have a couple of bits of news. Quite boring, though, just the usual viewing figure stuff that everybody seems overly concerned about. Then we've got a very cool piece of merch that was just announced this morning, which looks... I'll let you know how we feel about that. And then we're on to our review of Ascension of the Cybermen. But before we get cracking with all that, remember to subscribe to the show in whatever podcast app you listen to podcasts on, or head over to the website www.bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can find links off to all the various podcast apps and networks there. Or should do a search if you can't find us. We're also on the socials as well, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Just do a search for the Big Blue Box, or again go to the website. It's all on there. Connect with us. We chat plenty of Doctor Who during the week, and now on YouTube as well. So just do a search for the Big Blue Box on YouTube, and I'll link to the show notes and all that stuff as well. So I hope to do a weekly live stream, which will be fun to chat Doctor Who with you guys one-to-one. Well, one to a group of however many you are. Right, dude. Should we land it and do this bit of news and whatnot?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Viewing figures. Right, first one is the confirmed official ratings for The Haunting of Villa Diodati, and that came home with 5.7 million viewers in the end. I can't remember what the overnights were, but I think they were about 3 something.
That's right, they were, yeah.
Yeah, so that came home with just over 5 million. That means it was... what was this one? Make it the 31st most watched programme of all television channels for the week. And it had a 22.9% share. So it's not too bad. But the appreciation index score has gone up on this one. So we've moved up from 78 up to 80 with this one.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very, very cool. So those of you, like I said, that are concerned about these viewing figures and stuff, which you probably shouldn't be, it's more about the appreciation index that you should be more concerned about. So the fact that this has gone up by 2 to 80 is very, very good. Very good sign. Because those figures, they don't tend to shift a lot across the course of a series. So that's gone up by 2 points. So that's all good. And then the overnight figures for last week's Ascension of the Cybermen, that brought home 3.71 million viewers for the overnights, which is about par for the course, I would say, for the most of...
Seems to be.
Most of Series 12, yeah.
Yeah.
What did it beat? What did it not beat? It was beaten by Dancing on Ice, which had 4.39, but that's kind of been the thing, again, for most of this series, really. And... yes, it was the 50th most watched programme of the week so far based on those figures. So we'll get the confirmed official ones on Monday, I believe, so we'll report those back. But overall, fairly standard, really, for this series. Nothing jumps out at, oh my God, crazy bad or crazy amazing. It's, not too bad.
It's drifting along in it. I just noticed there, I can't believe 8.4 million are still watching Death in Paradise. It's well run its course, isn't it? Haven't they even got another? Anyway, I don't really watch it, but yeah, I just saw that at the bottom there. I thought, blimey, people still watching it. It might be good. I don't watch it, so.
Well, apparently it's one of the top BBC drama shows, mate.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, I don't know what they mean by top. As in, does the BBC class it as top, or does the country class it as top? I don't know.
I must admit, I'd like to see a little increase because, like you said, there's nothing really to get too worried about with figures. But I would like to see a little increase for next week's final, or this week's final, I should say, because the trailer for it is, and I'm not talking about the little 5-second one at the end of the show. They've released like a proper trailer for this week's finale, and it's a cracking trailer, isn't it? It's amazing, absolutely, because. We've said, in the past, haven't we, that some of the trailers have been a bit lackluster and it felt like the chippers wouldn't give them much to use. This trailer for this finale I think it's one of the best trailers we've had. It really does make you just, I'm so excited for Sunday. I just cannot wait, judging by the little clips. But yeah, annoyingly, I'm not going to be able to watch this go out live this week. I've got to work.
Oh,
so I'm going to have to wait till I get home from work before I watch it, which is going to annoy me because on the train on the way home, I normally check my phone, like you do. I've got a little train journey and look at the phone. I'm going to have to stay well clear of that for the whole train journey home until I get in and watch it. So that's going to be a bit painful. Yeah.
Or something might just happen at the shop. You have to close early.
Oh, I see what you mean. I thought you meant, yeah, exactly. Yeah, someone might have to hit a fire alarm and close the place down.
Yeah, accidentally lent on the fire alarm, and now the fire brigade have to come out and all that stuff, so we might as well close. We'll see you tomorrow. Yeah.
It shouldn't be too bad. I should be home about 7:30, 8, so I reckon I'll be about an hour
that's not too
behind.
bad.
It's not too bad. Yeah. It's not too bad, yeah.
Yeah,
just the next extra hour of anticipation. Something to look forward to. Let me put a positive spin. Something to look forward to when I get home on Sunday. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Can't wait for the reaction as well. I've got a feeling that it's going to just kick off, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it will.
There's been a lot of promise of game changer and all that. It's going to be mad.
It's going to be mad.
Yeah.
Right, so that's news. We've got one piece of merch to have a look at, so let's get old Grumpy Pants in.
Mm-hmm.
Merch corner. Merch corner. Merch corner.
It's a bit rubbish, but it's pretty. It's very... pretty.
Well, there you are, young man. What do you think of that now, a Viking helmet?
I know, it's on the telly. It's everywhere.
I don't know whether to be impressed or disgusted.
I work in a shop now, here to help.
Steelbooks.
Love them.
Love them, don't we?
Mm.
The old steelbooks. So I'm very happy that the BBC have still trundled along and steamrolled through and not given up on the steelbooks, because it would have been crap to get like the first 2 or 3 or 4. And then they just thought, we're not going to do these anymore. So they've kept it going. And now they've announced just this morning the cover artwork for the Series 12 steelbook. And also the internal artwork as well, should I say. And right, buddy. This looks just cool. Come on. What do we reckon on this one?
Oh, it's great, isn't it? It's when I saw this is beautiful. They've really delivered the goods on this one by the looks of it. I think it's a stunning steelbook. It's a massive step up from the Series 11 one. I mean, it's just 1,000 times better, isn't it? When you put this next to your Series 11, this just blows it out of the water, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Did you ever pick up the Series 11?
No.
No, you didn't. No. It was just they used that photograph, didn't they, of the silhouette of Jodie on the hill with the TARDIS.
The BFG cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. They just used that. It was such a dull steel, but this is beautiful. Love it. So you got the Doctor at the front, obviously, the Master behind her, and then on the back of it, Graham, Yaz, Ryan. Inside you got that nice sort of the one with Jodie's coat flowing open and the white background. It really does look stunning. I think this is an Amazon exclusive. Am I right in saying that?
You are correct. Yep.
So you got to order it from those bad boys. Who has done the artwork? Do we know?
I honestly don't know. It looks like...
is it a Sophie Cowdery who did the last one, maybe?
It could be. It looks like the first... You know, the first couple that we got?
That was Lee Binding.
Was it Lee Binding? No, it's not Lee. Well, it could be.
No, I don't think it is.
No, I'm not sure. I don't know. We'll find out, but it just looks so good. It really does look amazing. Like the colours are on fire, like literally on fire, like these oranges and reds and stuff. And the poses that they've chosen for every character are just bang on. It looks really, really good. Really good. It
does. This is not a bad thing about the steelbook per se, but just in terms of the actual Series 12, I do think they've upped the price a bit much, because it's only 10 episodes, isn't it? So the steelbook's $49.99 to £50 basically. I do think that's a bit steep.
That will come down though, right? Will that come down? How much was the Series 11 one when it launched?
Same.
Oh, was it? Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I mean, that took a long time to come down. I had it in my wish list for blimmin' ages, because I wasn't very impressed with the Series 11 steelbook. I wanted it because obviously I've got all the rest. I thought, well, I'm not paying that. And I'll tell you, I think I waited. When did I finally get that? Ooh, not that long ago. You know, it took a long time for that to drop. And I think again, it's because it's the Amazon exclusive. They know you're not going to get it cheaper anywhere. If you want it, you've got to get it from them. So they kind of can put whatever price they want, can't they? Which is a bit annoying, but yeah, I don't know. I definitely, despite the price tag, definitely want to get this. I think it's absolutely stunning.
Yeah, I do, mate. I'm going to have to play catch up a little bit though as well with Series 11, because I don't own that at all on any format. So if I'm going to order this one, then that really is going to put the shelf OCD mechanism into overdrive. So yeah, I'm going to have to play catch up and buy the other bloody ones now as well. But
yeah,
I don't mind, dude. This does look very cool. It just looks so cool.
We've not got long to wait as well, because it's due for release on March 16th. So that's, only a couple of weeks.
Yeah, 2 and a bit. Yeah, it's not too bad.
So it's not far away. Yeah,
yes.
Love it. Really do love it. It's a lovely steelbook.
You can buy the standard Blu-ray as well, if you like. It comes in... There's no confirmed artwork for that as yet, but I imagine it will be in a similar format to the Series 11 one, where it's like a little box set with a booklet in it and all that stuff. And that's currently on Amazon for a £10 or less, so £40. That will get you the standard Blu-ray non-steelbook.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. Anyways, another thing to buy.
Another thing to put on the shelf.
Indeed, yeah. So I won't link to the show notes in this. It's fairly obvious. Just go to Amazon, just do a search for Doctor Who Complete Series 12, and you'll see it. You'll see it all on there. Yes. So that's news and merch, bud.
That's it.
Nothing else to go through, really. So we're gonna slam into the review. What we got this week, bud?
Yeah. So the Cybermen are back big time in Ascension of the Cybermen.
What are they, these Cybermen? They're one of the most dangerous species I've ever encountered, up there with the Daleks.
An empire of evil, in ruins right now, brought down to nothing. But that could all change. Don't give it what it wants.
One Cyberman, but then thousands. No feeling, no control, no way back. I will not lose anyone else to that.
How long is this gonna last, Jazz? Hanging out with the Doctor?
You've no home planet, no influence, nothing.
Cyber war zones and people don't mix. We'll be here. Because we're your mates.
Family.
We're transformed, improved, updated, as you will learn.
They scorched and split the sky, built the army of all armies.
A work of the army.
I can't win!
We are inevitable.
Wowzers. If you're wondering who did the trailer, it's our good mate Reese, Gallifrey Forever 97.
I thought it was, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was, yeah.
Yeah, I used his trailer for the last episode, last week, uncredited. He didn't get angry. He just tweeted out to say that he was surprised that and glad that we used the trailer. I could tell that he was just a tad bit sort of passive-aggressive with the tweet. It was like, oi, glad you've used the trailer and all that. I'm kidding. He's not. Reese is not like that at all. He's a really cool guy.
Yeah, he is. He gets a good shout out at the BFI as well, doesn't he? Because they've picked up how good his trailers are and stuff. Yeah,
indeed.
He does awesome stuff.
Very talented guy. So cheers for that, Reese. I didn't ask you beforehand, but cheers for that. So Ascension of the Cybermen. It was broadcast, obviously, last week on the 23rd, Sunday. It was written by the Chibners. It was directed by Jamie Magnus Stone, and it stars the usual fam with a pretty sizable cast supporting those guys. And the story, you all know, thus that the they are separated in the galaxy at the moment, which is kind of in the aftermath of the cyber wars. The Doctor got the coordinates from the previous episode from, was it Percy Shelley? When he was inhibited by the Cyberium. So the Doctor and the companions are off to try and stop Mr. Ashad, but they get separated from each other when there's like a big battle going down. The Doctor ends up going off with Ryan off to somewhere called the Boundary. They go and find a guy called Ko Sharmus at this Boundary, which is meant to be this kind of portal that sort of sends humans to safety, but the Cybermen can't follow. The other half is Graham and Yaz. They're with the surviving humans that have escaped the initial Cybermen attack, and now they're on this huge Cybermen carrier thing with Ashad and those guys about to kick their asses by the look of it. And then there's like a sort of subplot that's running alongside this stuff, which sort of rewinds time, and we go back to sort of Ireland back in the day, and there's a baby that's been abandoned called Brendan that they find and they bring up, and he becomes an adult and stuff, but find out something's a bit not quite right about him. He survives a huge fall off of a cliff. It's a bit like Broadchurch, but sci-fi-ish. So we don't know what's going on with that either. So It's a great episode in the way that it ends on a bit of a cliffhanger with the Master bursting through the Boundary portal thing at the end, because the Doctor sees this big image of Gallifrey, and the closing lines are, everything's about to change, I think he says. Nothing's what you... I can't remember what the exact line he says, but in a nutshell, TLDR, beep is about to go down.
Yeah.
I think is the best way to put it. Right, so, Bud, give it to me. Finale part one. What do you reckon?
Finale part one. Yeah, it's a good part one. I enjoyed it. What?
For some reason, I was expecting like a lot more than that. It was just, it was good.
Yeah, it's good. It's good, man. No, it was good. It's funny because there was a lot going on, but it's probably one of the episodes that I've made the fewest notes on, because it basically threw open so many questions, didn't it? It was just an episode of what the hell is going on. There was so, like you said, so much back and forth, and So I was a bit baffled by the end of it. I thought, yeah, I enjoyed that, and that's really got me excited for part 2. And it's hard for me to sort of rate this really, because I think it's going to be one where you're going to have to judge it by part 2 as well. I think I'm going to have to see how this plays out, because this set up a lot of things, and we don't really have a lot of answers. So yeah, I did, but I just enjoyed it. I thought it was good. We were straight in with the action as well, didn't it? It didn't sort of, there was no build up. Like last week's episode was quite slow, but it built the tension, draw you in. There was none of that this week. It was bang straight into that sort of battle at the start. But yeah, it gets a thumbs up from me. I did think it was good. There are a few bits and bobs I'm not too sure about. I'll get one of them out of the way straight away. Actually, that's the Cyberdrones. I was a bit, when they started bobbing over the hill, I did think, what the hell? I'm not sure I liked that. I thought they looked a bit crap, quite frankly. But yeah, but no, I haven't got much negative to say about it this week. I did think it was good, but I'm just a bit baffled by it as well. Quite a lot of bits that I was just confused. There seemed to be a lot of strands, and we've already got quite a lot to tie up next week. So to add even more into that, I'm just hoping that next week's is a fitting conclusion, and then we get if we get another good part like this, then I think overall it'll be a cracking two-parter. But yeah, a lot banks on next week, really. I think it just depends on the answers to these questions, because we didn't get a lot of answers this week. Also, I wasn't I was expecting just a little bit more from it. I will say that because there's been such a build up by the Doctor Who, Twitter account, Facebook account, they've really built up the final, haven't they? Like the promotion has been a bit odd. They kept, even from like halfway through the series, like 4 episodes to go till the finale. It's like, what? It seemed like they were sort of rushing people to the finale. They've really built it up. Even the announcer before it started said, prepare yourself for a game-changing episode of Doctor Who. I thought, oh my God, someone's going to die or something's going to happen. There's going to be a massive cliffhanger reveal. So I will say this, as much as I enjoyed it, I also was expecting a bit more from it, which is why, again, I think I can't really sort of judge this too much until I see next week, because I don't know, I thought there was going to be a bit more to the cliffhanger. When the Master come back through, for me personally, I saw that coming a mile off. I knew, it was just so obvious, I thought, that the Master's come back, that I did find the cliffhanger, whilst exciting, also slightly underwhelming, because I just knew that was going to happen. Of course he was going to come back. I would have put money on that. So, yeah, not saying I felt let down by it. I just maybe expected a little bit more from the first part in terms of OMG moments, if you see what I mean. Rather than just saying, well, that was really good. But I thought there was going to be a few little bits thrown in to make us really go. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll be honest, I thought we might lose a companion at the end of the episode or something. I don't know. I thought there was going to be something like that happen this week.
Right.
Ryan seemed to be drifted around a lot. I thought he's a goner. There were moments when I thought something big was going to happen. And that big thing was the Master coming through, which I just found a bit underwhelming. So, yeah, I did expect a bit more, really, but yeah, it was good. It was good, though.
Okay. I'll read you.
So what do you reckon?
Yeah, so I think...
it was good.
Yeah, it was good. Moving on. I think you and I are going to differ very slightly on this one, in the fact that, first of all, I thought this was one of the best finales we've had in a few years.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was an absolutely cracking, brilliant episode.
Yeah,
and a much needed kick up the arse for finales that I've wanted for a few years now. And it was clear, wasn't it, about halfway through, that we weren't going to lose any companions in this one. So it feels like this part 1 of the finale is definitely the setup to part 2, really. Because although we've had this arc that's coming through that we've seen at the earlier stages of the series, like with the Master, this timeless child thing, all that, this is the first time that we've actually seen those things come to some kind of progression, if you like. It's like, okay, right, this is going to be. So in one way, you're absolutely right. We can't wait for Sunday. I think we're all in agreement on that. I think Sunday's going to be amazing. But on the other hand, it really does put a lot of pressure on the chibbers and also just the show as a whole, because if Sunday's episode turns out to be a flop, which I'm pretty sure it won't be, if it turns out to be a flop, then we're in trouble, because this is the setup, I reckon. I reckon the payoff next week is going to be really, really cool. So I also agree with you that it's almost worth reviewing these together in terms of overall score. And I mentioned also on last week's show when you weren't here that perhaps after next week we won't go back into our normal rotation. We might do a Series 12 as a whole.
Overview,
chat as a whole and an overview and stuff. So that might be cool. So yeah, I do agree with you. I think we need to review them together as a finale, and then Series 12, because Series 11, we didn't really have any of this sort of long story arc stuff, did we? We didn't have any of that really. So, but yeah, my thoughts are, I thought it was just a brilliant episode, really, really good, because there wasn't any point, first of all, where I reached for my phone, which is always a good sign. And the second one is, like you, I didn't make many notes. I didn't write many things down to say, that didn't work, or I didn't get that, or anything. But one thing we should kick off with, I think, is the unanswered questions, which I'm hoping are going to be answered next week.
Yeah.
So the first one, this alternate story timeline thread that's running through the episode, it sort of goes back, not as, I don't think flashback's the right word, because not one particular character is remembering anything. This is literally a kind of a separate thing that's been inserted into the story, but it does happen way back. I don't know when it was back, like in the 50s or the 60s, something like that. It looks like.
It did say, I think, I can't remember. Yeah.
It said at the beginning, didn't it? It said Ireland,
I think
and then
it was 60s, I think. Yeah.
Something like that. So what did you make to that then? Because there's been no kind of explicit or direct thing to say this character is insert name here, or this situation is insert that here. Did you get kind of lost with those bits, or did you kind of get right? I can see what we're building up to.
Here. No, I didn't. But in a good way, because that's the thing. I think hats off to Chibnall, because he kept me guessing all the way through. I mean, I'm still guessing because we didn't get any answers, but so you see the baby that's been left in the middle of the road, and then you see him grow up and you think, oh, okay, is he going to turn out to be the Cyberman then? Is that where that's going? No, don't think it is. Oh, okay. So who is he then? And then you get the Brendan falling off the cliff, coming back to life. And I'm like, what? Is he Jack? No, I don't think he is. Then you get the carriage clock and all that. It looks like the guy's being put in the chameleon. So there's another thing. So there was lots going on. And it just kept me guessing all the way through. I like that, because I'm really invested in all these strands. Like, I'm really just dying to see, like you said, the payoff. Like, where are these going? I like the fact it's not predictable. So again, as I said, hats off to Chibnall for doing that, because sometimes it's easy to sit there and think, no, okay, right, so he's going to grow up to be the Cyberman then, right? Yeah, but I don't think that's the case. I really don't know where that strand is going. Assuming it's going to tie into the Timeless Child somehow. I don't know. I really don't know where it's going at all. And the danger with that is that it can leave you feeling unsatisfied, or you're just not invested in it. But actually, it's totally the opposite. So, the writing was good, I think, in the sense that it really sort of drew you in. And it again, it's just making the anticipation for this week's episode so much higher. So I don't know. I really don't know where any of that's going, to be honest. What do you think? Do you have any theories on it?
Yeah, it's a tricky one to pin down. Well, no, that's not true. It's obviously linked. First of all, I thought it was Ashad, the Cyberman.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's what I initially thought. I thought this young lad, this is like the backstory for Ashad. That's what I initially thought. And when the episode finished, I thought, well, it could be that still.
It
could, but it's more likely now linked to the Timeless Child thing. Purely because of the timey-wimey aspect of it, because I followed that thread, because I think we got four scenes with those guys, I think, overall throughout the story. And the first three were or maybe we've got 5. I can't remember. The first bunch of them, it was a nice build up in itself. It's almost like a mini story that it kind of builds up, which was great. So the first couple I got, the abandoned kid. Something's obviously going to transpire that this is, like I thought, Ashad, or it's going to be, because the reason I thought that initially is because in The Haunting of Villa Diodati, there's that bit where Ashad picks up the baby from the crib, but doesn't kill it, doesn't harm it. So I thought, is he remembering that he was abandoned as a baby?
Yes.
And has he, was that a trigger to like tap into the human side of his brain that hasn't been converted yet? But hasn't been converted. So I thought, is there an emotional thread here that's going to run through with Ashad? But then that curveball throws in where he falls off the cliff after he's been shot, but nothing happens to him. So then you're like, right, what's going on here then? And then it's fairly straightforward after that. But then that very last bit where he retires and he's an old man and he walks out, and then you see his adopted, his father, adoption father, and the original policeman, I think, that gave him the job at the beginning. But they haven't aged at all. They're like young men as they were back then, but he's aged. So
yeah, I know.
So that bit that then threw me, because I thought, well, that doesn't then tie into being Ashad, because when you see Ashad's half of his face under the cyber helmet, he's not an old man. So, or maybe there's like a reset going on. I'm not sure.
Because when they put the electrodes on his head, they said that you're not going to remember any of this. And I was thinking, okay, so what's this? Is that a chameleon arc? That's what I assumed.
Yes.
I don't know. The thing is, we don't know how Ashad ended up being this bit part Cyberman either yet, do we? Because he's got a bit of Mondasian arm. He's still got a bit of human left in him. He's a bit of everything really. And I'm thinking, so how has he ended up being like that? At what point has he become like that? And why is he still a bit human? And
there was a bit in the story though where he does reference, and this is the other thing that threw the other curveball, was that there's a scene where he references that he wasn't accepted into something earlier on in his life. So I thought, well, is that a memory going back to something with that whole Irish thing? But then no, that then made me think, well, no, that's something to do with the Cybermen. So maybe maybe we'll find out that he's forced this conversion on himself. Maybe he's sort of done a hack job on himself to try and be accepted into the Cybermen or the cyber race, whatever you want to call it. So that's one potential thread about how he ended up like that. But then it doesn't explain how he's now the cyber leader.
That's what I was thinking, yeah. So how's he now become like, yeah.
Yeah. So there's one thing that's cool, though, is that in some reviews that we've done over the years, we've always looked at it as a negative when you finish watching an episode and you've gone, I didn't get that. There's like more questions than answers and I don't understand what's happened, and that's not great storytelling. But it's cool that in this one, the questions that have been unanswered are really cool because they get you thinking and talking about it.
Yeah, it felt like it. That's what I mean. The writing, it did feel like it had enough going on in between the questions to sort of keep you invested in it. It's just so much that I don't understand yet. I mean, the other thing with Ashad that I didn't get was when he releases the cyber army, there's a bit where he's sort of torturing a Cyberman. I didn't understand what was going on there. It was as if he sort of took don't know, there was like sparks flying off of him. I was like, I don't know what he was doing to him. But you know the scene I mean, don't you?
Yes, he's drilling into their chest plates.
Yeah, so what was he doing? Because at one point I thought, has Ashad has he been good all along and it was all a trick? I don't know. It's like, why is he doing that to that Cyberman? But then clearly not, because the next scene he's just got his army together and he's on, he's kicking, what? But yeah, so what was that about? Why was he torturing that Cyberman?
I'm not sure, mate, because again, initially when I saw that scene, I thought he's waking them up somehow. They're in some kind of deep stasis and they can't be woken up. So he's sort of drilling into something to like get access to one of their electrical components, and he can wake them up that way, like hot wiring a car or something.
I remember, yes. I've only just remembered this. I turned to my other half and I said, what was that about? And my partner said, oh, hasn't he done that? To the cry is to wake them all up, which I didn't get at all. I never would have thought that. But now I think about it, that kind of ties in with what you're saying. Was that to wake the army, possibly?
Yeah, I think so.
It's an odd thing, but it does make sense, I suppose.
Yeah, and the other thing that sort of that adds to that as well is the amount of Cybermen that are on that cyber carrier. So the whole point of that whole ship that they're on is to provide kind of infantry backup for the cyber war. So it's got like thousands and thousands of cyber warriors on there.
Yeah.
So there's absolutely no way in the time frame between him drilling into the first Cyberman and the next scene where there's like hundreds of them coming out of the thing, that he could have gone round and drilled into all of them and woke them all up individually. So it probably was that first one, drilled into him, make the cry, that then sends everything into like alert mode. Bosh, they're all awake.
Yeah, it does. That theory does fit, doesn't it? But yeah, I wouldn't have got that if my other half hadn't have said. I didn't get that at all. But it does make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the moral of the story is, generally speaking, our other halves are a lot cleverer.
Yeah, can't argue with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So this whole sort of additional story that they've inserted in. Initially, I thought it was Ashad, but I don't think it is anymore. I think it's definitely linked to this timeless child thing, which is the biggest question above everything, I think. Because, sorry, go on, mate.
No, go on. That's fine.
I was going to say, because it was only that one line that the Master said early on in the series, and that was all we had to go on. So the Master said something like, everything that you know or everything you believe is a lie. So, and then we got that tiny little flashback with the Doctor when she goes into a nightmare or a dream or something. She sees that little girl. Do you remember? I think, was it in the other story?
Jadoon one, wasn't
the Jadoon, yes. No, the one where they're on the ship with the bald guy.
Yes, it was. Yeah, you got the flashback. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that little nugget as well. So, and then at the end when she sees Gallifrey, but she doesn't see it as the Gallifrey that she saved, as Matt Smith's Doctor. Was it Matt Smith or Capaldi? Capaldi, sorry. She sees it as what the Master is seeing it as. It looks like just this war-torn, Gallifrey burning sort of thing. So I think that's the bigger question. That's the bigger one, is like, what is this timeless child thing? And how does it link? Because the interesting thing for next week is, how are they going to link these two things together? So how are they going to link all of the Cybermen stuff and Ashad and all that jazz? How are they going to link that to what the Doctor's going to experience from the looks of things with the Master and this timeless child thing? How are they going to intersect? Because they can't just end it on two separate threads, I don't think.
No.
So that's going to be an interesting one.
I keep thinking about the bit when Brendan comes back to life on the beach as well, and the way he did it is exactly like Jack. When every time Jack dies, he comes back like that. Then he goes, just starts breathing again. And obviously we've had Jack appear in the Jadoon episode. But the thing is, because people are saying maybe Brendan's a Time Lord, but the thing is, Jack only keeps coming back alive because of what happened to him, because of Rose saving him, isn't it? That's right. What I've always assumed. The reason that Jack can't die is because of Rose bringing him back to life in, what's that episode called?
Parting of the
brilliant Eccleston two-parter.
Parting of the Ways.
Parting of the Ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that why?
I thought so.
I've always assumed that. So that makes you think that Brendan somehow is Jack, or... Because, that's unique to Jack, isn't it? Because of that.
Yeah, but then again, we got some of Jack's backstory in Torchwood, didn't we? Remember that scene where there's that cinema or club that's, when they go into it's back in time.
Yeah.
And we find out that Jack took that other Captain Jack's name. So that doesn't make sense, because that's not in Ireland or anything like that. And it's not that far back either. I think the Ireland stuff is actually last century, I think. Now, if I remember correctly, whereas Jack's history, when he was younger, is later in time than that. If you stick to the timeline of like connected universe between Torchwood and Doctor Who.
Yeah, I suppose it doesn't make sense for him to be Jack, so that's probably wrong. Yeah, I don't know, but this is the thing I love. This is the thing I love. There's so many theories you could just, and I like that because I think, like you said, that's something that's been missing a bit recently. Is just the fact that fandom. I know fandom's quite divided at the minute, but the ones who are enjoying the series at the minute are really loving trying to work out this puzzle that Chris Chibnall has managed to put together, which is, like you said, why I really hope the payoff is good, because he's definitely got some good stuff going on in here. For sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of some of the old RTD stuff as well. Do you remember the whole 4 Knocks thing?
Yep.
And everyone was like, what does that mean? How is that going to transpire and stuff? And it was that big twist, wasn't it? That it was Wilf. The 4 Knocks
right.
on the Vivace
it
glass.
To be you.
Yeah. Oh, dude, don't.
Oh,
no. Oh no. Right.
Don't think about it.
Right.
We can't get Gary started on that. He gets all emotion.
Yeah. Moving on swiftly. So, what do you reckon to the setup to this individual story, though, with the last humans have kind of been on the run from the Cybermen since the start of this whole cyber war thing, and now there's only a few of them left that have banded together and they're trying to repair the ship, and then the fam turns up, and then you've got so the flying cyber heads, the Cyberdrones. Not a fan.
I wasn't a fan, I'll be honest. I didn't think they looked particularly good. No, not gonna lie. I didn't hate them, but I didn't think they looked that good.
Do you know what it was for me, mate? If they had have changed the design a little bit, then they could have worked. But it looked like one of my sons, right, had gone onto Photoshop and very roughly cut out the head of a Cyberman and then just put that on another photo or something, because there wasn't any there wasn't any like wires hanging out the bottom of the heads or anything. There wasn't anything. There's no like little tiny design difference. It's just literally just a cyber head plucked off something, or like the production line.
It looks like, sorry listeners, because this is a visual thing, but it looks like I've got one here on the desk as I record. It says it used to have sweets in it. I'm just going to show Gary. If I remember, I'll try and remember to put a picture on Facebook so you can see what I'm talking about. It looks exactly like that.
It does, just a floating head.
This is a big Cyberman head that used to have jelly sweets in it that you could buy back in whatever year this was. God, it's got a best before of 2008 on there. So yeah, it just looks like that, doesn't it? Floating through. Yeah, I know what you mean. It almost would have been better if they'd used cyber mats or something, or like you said, just tweak the design, because it just looked a little bit silly, really. It didn't look threatening. And the shooting as well. I mean, God, that is the thing that happens a lot with anything that shoots at the fan. They're just the worst shots ever, aren't they? It almost takes away the threat because it's a bit laughable. So yeah, I wasn't a fan of those. The only good thing is it's given Twitter plenty of scope for memes. I mean, they've done loads. I saw one of a load of Nymon heads yesterday coming over here, which I thought was brilliant.
Nymon heads.
So it's good for that type of thing, I suppose. Yeah, have you seen that?
No, I haven't. No, it sounds funny.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. It's just a load of Nymon heads instead of Cybermen heads. But yeah, I don't know. What did you think when you saw that, Dave? Were you just a bit like,
yeah, to be honest with you,
not sure about that.
Like you said at the beginning, I don't have many negatives really for it, but that's one of them. It's just, it's strange because
it's a strange choice, isn't it?
Yeah, because I'm also struggling to figure out how they move so quickly and all the firepower and stuff. Just a floating head. I mean, normally in terms of like, what am I trying to say here? The world of sci-fi in general, and when you have things like this happen, you normally try and explain it with some kind of pseudoscience or some kind of thing. Like you'd have like extra little laser cannons or something coming off the side of the Cyberman's head, or you have like a little jet engine-y mini thing on the back. That would explain how they move so quickly and stuff. But it literally looks like they're just floating. Like it just looks surreal. It doesn't suit how the rest of the episode is explained and how it's real. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to go down the whole road of like, yeah, but Superman's unrealistic because it's about a man who flies. I'm not trying to go down that road, but they do look a bit weird with it.
Yeah, I do know what you mean.
Yes.
Actually, before we move off Cyberheads, though, I'll come back with a real positive. how nice was the CGI Cyberhead at the very start of the episode, and we went through the eye into the opening credits. Now, I did like that.
Sorry, the way that and it leads into the close. Yes, that was awesome.
You had me worried then. I thought I'd imagined it. I was thinking, he doesn't know what I'm on about. It's the very start, wasn't it? This Cyberhead floating through space. Then we went through its eye and into the credits. I thought that was a beautiful opening to the episode. I kind of like it when we get a pre-title sequence, Somehow the theme seems to kick in more. It feels quite cold when we go straight into the theme. I don't know why. It just really suits the theme when it kicks in from a pre-title sequence, especially that one.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's good. And also in the closing credits, it was the first time since The Woman Who Fell to Earth that we've heard the full Segan Akinola theme with like the whole middle 8 bit as well. And that was very cool.
Yeah, that was nice to hear, wasn't it? It's weird because I hadn't really sort of noticed that too much, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
it's nice to get the full theme.
Yeah.
We also got a nice little mention that the Cybermen are allergic to gold. I like that little line of, I heard that once. I thought that was quite good to get that in there.
That was cool, actually.
Old school reference, yeah.
There were 2 things in this episode, dude, that I had to rewind and play again because I couldn't make it out. The first one was I got really excited when she got the bag of sweets out, and I thought
it was Jelly Babies.
I thought it was Jelly Babies, but it was humbugs, wasn't it?
Yeah.
For some bizarre reason. Do you know what? Because my mind filled in the gap. Because there was a doctor with getting out a bag of sweets in the traditional white scrunchy paper bag. My mind immediately jumped to Jelly Babies. I don't know why I did that.
Mine did too. A natural reaction.
The other thing was, and this is another one of those little weird unanswered questiony things that did the rounds on Twitter a lot afterwards, was there was a scene where Graham is going off to explore the cybercarrier with... her name was Ravio, the older woman survivor. And they're about to go through one of the doors and she asks him something and he starts his sentence with, "That's because I'm the doc," and then stops and then corrects himself. What do you think to that then? Because that's a bit of a mind melter.
That is, isn't it? I know. And the first time I watched it, I thought, did they just leave a fluff in? I thought Bradley Wolford just fluffed his line. I thought, did they just leave that in? Did they not have time to refilm that or what? It was only on the second watch that I was like, it sounds like he's saying I'm the doc, and then he stops. So it's like, so it's intentional. So I don't know. What's that about? Is that just a little throwaway jokey thing, or is that a real big thing, that another part of this reveal? I don't know. My gut feeling is it's nothing, but
that's what I thought.
It's definitely there.
It's absolutely there, and that's the second bit that I had to rewind because I thought, hold on, did he just? And I thought, hold on, are we having a Hartnell moment here? Is this like a bit of
exactly what I thought? Yeah,
a bit of a fluff line, but they just left it in for whatever reason it could be. I don't know. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, no, that can't. We can't have anything with like Graham can't be anything. A lot of people have said Graham is the Doctor now. Like Graham's either the Doctor or he's a Time Lord. And Yaz is something as well. There's like loads of theories knocking around, but to be honest with you, I think there's so much going on already that to take the focus away from, it's ultimately going to be the Doctor and a Master finale by the look of it. I think to detract from that and have something as huge and epic. But then my mind does that thing where it's like, no, you're not getting off that easy. Because then they threw in the huge bloody Dr. Ruth thing and all that. Yeah. So that's a big epic bloody change if that comes of anything. So yeah, I honestly don't know. I think it's going to be nothing. I'm pretty sure it's just going to be a little, like, I think it was an intentional fluff by the character.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
As in, like, it was written in to be a fluff by Graham. I'm not sure if it will come to anything, but I don't know, man. It's this episode was just full of like those little tiny mind busters, and you were like, hold on a minute. After the episode, right, my brain was just like, I'm telling you now, body, you need to go and have a lie down.
Yeah.
Not the other way around. It's like, you need to go and lie down immediately. So Yeah.
It was definitely, it's a blink and you'll miss it moment as well. If anyone's listening thinking, what are they on about? It's just that Graham basically almost says, I'm the Doctor. And then he stops, doesn't he? He's like, I'm the Doctor. And then he carries on and it was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. My gut feeling, same as you, is it's probably nothing. Maybe a little inside joke because he's been mistaken for the Doctor a couple of times this series. But if it does turn out to be something, that will be quite a reveal, I think.
Yeah. No, I read you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And before we get on to some characters, what did you think to the character of Ko Sharmas? Because initially they thought that was a place.
I liked that idea. Yeah. She's like, oh, you're a person.
Yeah. So what did you think to this whole thing then? Because this is another big bloody new thing that they've thrown in that we've never seen or heard of before. This whole thing with the boundary, because it was sold to them as like an escape route, really. It was like, get to Ko Sharmas, and there's this thing called the boundary. You jump through it. It will transport you to a safe place in the universe that the Cybermen can't follow, which sounded pretty reasonable and a pretty good deal by the sound of it.
I love all that because it's one of the things I've criticised Chris Chibnall for in the past, even before he took over as showrunner, was that he seemed very light on new ideas. He seemed to recycle a lot of stuff, didn't he? And like the Silurian story that he did, I thought, well, that's just a remake of the Silurian. He does seem to borrow a lot, and I've said in the past, he doesn't come up with very many good ideas that are fresh and new. So, I think, let's give credit where it's due. I think he's come up with some really good stuff in this, and that's one of them. I love the idea of getting to like this safe haven place with a portal and all that. It may be from something else, but if it is, I don't know. But yeah, I just thought that was a cool little bit of storytelling, and it was another element to the story that I liked. So, yeah, I just like the idea of the portal being that safe haven, but then you've got Gallifrey, and then it's like, what the hell? So yeah, another thing to try and figure out before next week. Yeah,
because it's interesting because I reckon that character Ko Sharmas knows more than what he's saying. I think anyway.
Possibly,
I think so, because essentially he's saying that, I could have escaped with the rest of the humans, but I've decided to stay back. And it's been like God knows how many years since I've seen anybody. There must have been a reason. I'm sure he explains it. I think he said I think a doctor or somebody says, that was a noble move or something. And he's like the move of an idiot or something more like, I just think because this whole boundary thing, initially it wasn't going to be anything too heavy. But because now we see Gallifrey, and it's not just the Doctor that can see it. Exactly, yeah. And it's Ryan and Ko Sharmas can also see Gallifrey, and he's quite surprised. He's like, this has never happened. I've never seen this before. So this whole boundary portal thing is reacting somehow to the Doctor. Now, I don't know if that's the Master doing that from the other end, like the other end of the portal, or if it's reacting to the Doctor because she's there at that moment. I really don't know, but it was a freaking awesome scene though, dude. The way that it was done good as well, the CG, the visual effects, it looks really good.
It did look good.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, but you might be able to answer this one because I have a feeling it was just me. I didn't switch off at all. I was totally engaged, but I may have just missed this in the story. But where is TARDIS? And why couldn't they? Because there's a line where she says, "Oh, we haven't got time to get back to the TARDIS." I'm like, well, where is it? Where's she parked the blimmin' thing that it's so far away that they can't get to it?
Oh yeah, I think that's. I think all that was they parked up knowing roughly where the human settlement was. So they're on foot for quite a bit, carrying all that stuff. So by the time they've set it all up, and then the cyber ships arrive and everything, I think what she's saying is they don't have enough time. Because they'll basically be running unarmed back towards the TARDIS. They'll be intercepted before they get there. I think that's what she was trying to say.
Because we didn't see it at all, did we?
No.
This TARDIS? No. I just wondered, it seems, I think for sort of the storytelling side of things, that's why it's been sidelined, if you like. Because I kept thinking, well, where's the blimmin' TARDIS? But yeah, I suppose that'd make everything a bit too easy if she had that to go back and forth in. So that's probably a good thing that she's kind of been stranded without the TARDIS, I guess.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, that's a cool element because we did at the beginning. We still had a little bit of the old Sonic going on
Yes, I must admit, when this episode started and she got the Sonic out within the first go, I was like, oh, for goodness sake. That was the only... Yeah, I must admit, I am really getting fed up with that Sonic. I really am now, and I can't even lie and pretend, oh, well, no, it's fine. You know, every Doctor does it. It's getting annoying. Just blow the blimmin' thing up or get rid of it. Yeah. It is getting way overused. I'm not even going to pretend it isn't. It is. Just going quickly back to the TARDIS bit thing, because that reminds me of something else actually that I did think I can overlook it because it's just a bit of fun, but it was a bit ridiculous. So you got the really cool bit that Graham and all that are on that spaceship and they're flying it. I liked all that, but then they had to somehow get it in to this landing thing. He's like, oh, if we just managed to do that, and even my other half was like, well, that was a bit like convenient, wasn't it, that they managed to just get it through the gap and somehow in the next scene it's perfectly landed. That was a bit stupid.
Yes, I've got two theories on that.
Yeah,
the first one
hit me with them.
The first one is, yep, it was an absolute ridiculous fluke.
Yeah.
The second one is, I kind of like to think that the Cybermen were brainy enough to include some kind of tractor beam or something on there, because you remember when, if you cast your mind back to New Hope, Star Wars, there's a bit where...
My favourite.
Yep, there's a bit where Luke, Obi-Wan, Han and Chewie are in the Falcon and they've arrived at Alderaan, but Alderaan's been destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And then they find the Death Star there. When they try and turn around and fly off, the Death Star sort of brings them in on a tractor beam, and it brings the Millennium Falcon in perfectly into the landing bay, turns it around and lands it, and everything's cool. I like to think that the Cybermen watched Star Wars and implemented something along the same lines, because the sort of the ship, you can see the ship, it sort of erratically gets fired off towards the ship, and then as it gets closer, it gets more and more on target and lands inside the landing bay. So I like to think it's something like that, but it's probably the former.
Yeah, no, I love that theory. Let's go with that. Yeah, just the thought of Cybermen sat in the cinema watching Star Wars is brilliant.
Excellent.
Delete. George Lucas inside one of the cyber suits going, delete that scene. It must be erased and never seen in its original form again.
Dude, right. Right, let's rattle through some characters. Very quickly though, did you see the similarities between all the stuff on the Cybercarrier thing and Earthshock?
Yes, I did. My first thoughts were Tomb, actually. When I saw the big door and all that, I thought, oh, they're going for a Tomb of the Cybermen vibe. But I guess it was a little bit more Earthshocky. Yeah, but I thought that was good. I did like all that stuff. Did have that sort of feel to it, I think, intentionally. Yeah. Yes. Do you want to talk about the new Cybermen design, or do you want to save it for later?
We'll do that when we come on to the Cybermen in a second.
Okay, yeah, cool, because I need to get your thoughts on that.
Actually, let's do them first, because in terms of like other cast members and stuff, they're obviously a big part of it. And there's quite a few different people, surprisingly, that played various different Cybermen. And I read somewhere also that the two Cybermen that were accompanying Ashad all the time, they've been labelled in something. It might have been the Radio Times or something. No, on BBC iPlayer, sorry. The two Cybermen that were with Ashad all the time have been labelled as Cyberguards.
Oh, right.
Okay. So I could be wrong, but I've not heard of them having that role before.
No.
So that's kind of cool. Anyway, there was about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There was 10, 11 different people playing Cybermen in this one, and it's unusual because you normally only get sort of 3 or 4, and you just repeat them, or you make it look like there's a lot more, with visual effects and so on. So they were cool. But yes, the design. So we saw the two Cyberguards. They look like the Cybermen that we've seen over the last few years, don't they? That kind of,
the RTD type.
Yeah, kind of thing. But the Cyber Warriors, all the dudes that were on the Cybercarrier, they've kind of got a classic, like an amalgamation of like some of the newer bits, but also the classic look, especially in the helmet and the face. Now, I don't know about you, mate, but I love that design.
Yeah, for me, it's a winner, because I've not liked the new designs at all since the show come back, to be honest. I didn't like the RTD design. I didn't like the ones that we got in Nightmare in Silver. I think they were I don't know if they were an improvement or not, but I haven't liked either of those designs, to be honest. They just don't quite look right to me. This new one, although there are still bits I don't like about it, there's a lot that I do like about it. I think the new head design is so much better because it's wider. It's got the big sort of, what do you call them, the bits at the side, the chunky rivet lines, whatever they are. Yeah, this to me looks much more like a Cyberman that I would like to see in the series. So yeah, I really am taken with the new design. It's got the sort of body of the Nightmare in Silver style with that big torch at the front, which I'm not a massive fan of that, if I'm honest. That to me, I think, I would have got rid of that silly torch, but no, overall, really do like it. I think this is much more like what I want to see a Cyberman look like in Doctor Who. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Like you said, it's definitely got that more classic vibe to it than the other two designs ever had. So yeah, it's a winner. Yeah.
Winner on this one. Yeah, as soon as I saw it, I thought of you actually. As soon as I saw that design, I was like, yeah, this is Adam's cup of tea.
Oh, definitely. Really cool. The BBC released a fantastic promo pic of it. Literally yesterday or the day before, so after the episode, and you'll know the one I mean. It's kind of the new Cyberman design, kind of reaching out at an angle.
Yes, I've seen it.
And
I've seen
it just looks brilliant. Mm-hmm. It really does look good. So yeah, I'm hoping we get to see quite a bit more of these. I do really like this particular design. Yeah, it feels modern, but it feels classic at the same time.
Yes, it does.
Just going back to what you said about the Cyberguards?
Yep, those two.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, I don't think we've had Cyberguards before. I'm pretty sure in Earthshock we had like a Cyber Lieutenant or something, didn't we? Do you remember there was the two that were around the scanner? You had the Cyber Leader, and I think the other one was a Cyber Lieutenant or something. So we do get variations on the Cybermen.
There's a hierarchy,
Cyberguards.
Yeah, there is somewhere.
Cyberguards before.
Yeah,
but yeah, really do love that new design.
Yeah, and Nick Briggs killing it as always. The voice,
doing the voice. Yeah,
very cool.
Of course.
What do you think to the guys like the Last Human Settlement? A few of them got picked off quite early, and then a couple of them ended up going to the Cybercarrier with Graham and Yaz. Those three survivors. So we had Ravio, which is the woman who looks like she's got a bit of a thing for Graham.
Yes.
She's like, I like
a little
weird.
Bit of flirt in there. Yeah.
A little bit flirting.
Graham was like, oh, my luck's changed.
And then there was the two other guys. There was the young lad, can't remember his character name as expected. And then the young girl, can't remember her character name either. So
the young lad, I at one point thought he might turn out to be a traitor or something, because there was a bit where Doctor was like, you seem to know a lot about flying. I was like, another twist. Yeah. But then it wasn't that, was it? It was just because he'd been trained up, or I don't know, there was another reason, but he was quite a good little actor actually. I thought out of the two he sort of stuck out a bit more. He was given a bit more to do, a bit more backstory. So
yes,
they were pretty decent as side characters. I thought I'm guessing we're going to get to see a bit more of them. There's definitely potential for some good characterization there.
Indeed, yes. And then we had the guy that seemed to be the kind of leader of the humans. He didn't want to be recognised as such.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah, and then you had the other young lad as well. And that was a really cool scene with him and Ashad, where Ashad didn't kill him, as basically quite threatening, saying, I'll let you live if you sort of go off and spread the word, like how evil I am and how terrible I am and all that stuff. That was cool.
Oh, I think that's the one I mean. I might be getting confused.
That's him, yeah. He's the one that
is him, yeah.
He ends up with the Doctor.
That's right.
And because they hijack one of the cyber ships, and he knows how to pilot it and stuff and all that.
That's it.
Yeah.
Because the other one gets shot, doesn't he? The one who's
yes,
yeah.
shot. And it's the other guy that ends up with Graham and Yaz. So there's the woman and then the two younger people. I can't remember their character names, but they weren't too bad, to be honest with you. I can't remember their names, but in terms of performances, they weren't too bad.
No, they were decent side characters, yeah.
And then Ko Sharmas was played by Ian I can never pronounce his surname. Ian McElhinney.
Oh, as Ko Sharmas.
Yeah, I've seen him in loads of things before.
He is one of those actors. I mean, yeah, I recognised him, but I couldn't tell you anything he's been in. But he does look recognisable.
Yeah.
I expect he's done loads, has he? Yeah, he has.
Yeah,
right?
He's done loads and loads of things. I've seen him in. Yeah.
Has he been in the bill though? Because if he hasn't been in the bill, then I'm not interested. He must have. Oh, he's been in Taggart.
Oh yeah, he's been in Taggart.
So that's good enough. Yeah.
Yeah, the woman that played Ravio, Julie Graham, she was in the Sarah Jane Adventures apparently.
She's another one that as soon as I saw her, I thought, I've seen her in something. Yeah. So that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the fam then? What about our companions and the Doctor then? Because I thought they all had, again, apart from Ryan a little bit, he's still a little bit. Yeah, the focus is definitely not on Ryan this series. But I think
was
Graham
one scene I had to laugh. He looked so bored. He literally, I thought, does Tosin know the camera's on him at this point? Seriously, it was the scene in the spaceship with the Doctor's talking to that young lad, and he's kind of leaning on a post. And I mean, he literally may as well have just walked. He looked so bored, and I don't blame him. He got absolutely nothing to do this episode, did he? Really?
No, bless him. Yeah. So yeah, the focus is definitely not, because on series 11, it was all about Ryan and Graham, wasn't it? And Yaz got sidelined quite a bit. So now the roles have changed a bit, and Yaz is getting a bit more.
Well, also, he talks so boring now. I'm getting a bit fed up of Ryan, I'll be honest with you. I am getting a little bit fed up of Ryan.
Oh dear.
Sorry.
Fairly consistent though throughout the series again. Fairly in terms. I mean, it's more the writing. Anything. The more they get to do, the more they shine. Obviously, which is an obvious thing. But I thought Graham and Yaz, sorry, they had a fairly decent episode.
Yes, they did. Yeah, absolutely no complaints with those two. I'm really warm towards Yaz. I think Yaz is great, and Bradley, lots of nice little scenes and little quippy moments with him. And I don't think I can fault anything that he's done in this last two series. To be honest with you, he's what I would call a very consistent performance. Bradley Walsh. he just seems to know the characters so well. He's sort of effortless in his performance, I think, every week. But Yasmin Mandip, I do it again. I've just really warmed to her character, so she got to get stuck in a bit more this week. It's just poor old Ryan, isn't it? Just wandering around like a lost lamb. He's almost waiting to be put out of his misery, isn't he?
Yeah, I think that's. Do you know what, mate? I think that's just the writing for Doctor Who in general. When you have a busy TARDIS crew like you do here, it's so difficult to give them all good meaty stuff to do every single episode.
He's become the tin dog.
The tin dog, mate. Yeah,
hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got. Yeah. The thing is, he's not complaining about it though. He's not a Mickey, is he? He's not like,
no,
I've become the tin dog.
The tin dog.
But no, yeah. And what about Jodie then? So sonic screwdriver usage aside.
Yeah.
Do you think that she continues her strong performance that we've seen in Series 12 so far? Is she stronger to you?
I thought she was good in this one. Yeah, I did. I thought her performance was very good. I like it more when she's on her own. I think something about her performance is better when she's not having to be with the fam. I don't know. I just prefer it when the Doctor's sort of... I think actually what I like is when the Doctor feels like she's in peril. I think Jodie ups her game a bit when she's sort of up against it on her own. The only thing I wish they would stop doing, this is the writing, nothing to do with Jodie, but it really annoys me when she comes up against a threat and she just starts babbling on quips and jokes and trying to be all smart and funny. For me, that just doesn't work when they do it all the time. I think if it was now and again, like if she, if she sort of gave a one-liner like the Fourth Doctor might, she might throw out a sort of sarcastic line to the baddie, but then it turns serious. I think that would work. But Jodie's Doctor just seems, she comes face to face with the Iron Dalek and she just starts saying all this silly stuff. She comes face to face with the really threatening and quite scary Ashad Cyberman. Fair enough, have a bit of humour in the script, but they almost make her a bit too silly. I just feel it lets her Doctor down a bit because they just seem to do it all the time. I hope I'm explaining that well enough. Do you know what I mean? It's like, she always just sort of goes, are you ready then? Are you? And it's always just too comedic. And I'm all for a bit of that, but just not constantly. When you finally get the sort of what's the word, front off? When you finally get the Doctor and the main villain together, I want to see some serious, battle going on. There's a time for quips. and then there's a time for getting down and dirty. And I feel with Jodie, they always just make her act really stupid every time she comes face to face with the main villain. It's just a bit much of it for me, I think.
Yeah, a good example of that is if we go to something like The Brain of Morbius. Tom's doctor, for the first 20 minutes, is just full of jokes. Quite comical, even though Sarah Jane's got the right hump. He's throwing like funny one-liners all over the place. It's quite funny. But when it comes down to business, he switches and he's on the game.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So it's not really a slight on Jodie, because as I said, I thought she was good, very good in this episode. She was, if anything, it's a little bit Jodie-like, but because there was so much going on, I kept thinking, the Doctor's not in this much. But when she was on screen, really, really good. I just wish they'd toned down what I would call the silly throwaway chatter. I'm all for a bit of banter, but like you said, there's a time for that. And then there's a time to be like, the Doctor means business now. She did it really well in last week's. the scene at the end.
Oh yeah,
where she was like, you guys, do you want to face the reality or not? She hit the nail on the performance, bang on them, because of the writing. She really toned down the silliness there, and it was fantastic. I'd like to see a bit more of that when she meets a villain. I'd like to see a bit more of the Doctor getting down to business.
Yeah,
but no faults on Jodie this week. I did think she was very strong this week in the scene she was in. I thought she was good.
Yeah, indeedy. I agree, mate. Yeah, she's very good. Yeah. Really liked her in this series, actually. Really grown to appreciate when she's been written well, and she hasn't got all the exposition to do and all the sort of funny little quips all the time. She's actually very good when she's written well.
Yeah, I was going to say, I absolutely agree. The expedition has still been way too much this series. We'll come on to this when we go on to series overview. But yeah, she has been good this series. She's definitely settled in quite nicely to her part. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And then before we get on to scores, mate, I actually quite liked the theme that we heard when the Cybermen and the Cyber Warriors were on screen. Segan put this really sort of thumping, very cool theme for those guys. And it's something that I've really wanted over this series, is to have like a recognizable theme for something.
Yeah.
And that music that he worked up for those guys was really cool. Very cool.
I have to say, we've given Segan a bit of stick this series in terms of his score. I really like the music in this episode. I agree with you about that theme. That was good. And I also liked all the Irish sort of piano-y, violin-y stuff that we had going on. Really suited the scenes. So yeah, he was definitely more on the money, I think, with his music in this one.
Yes. Right, scores, unless you've got anything else, dude.
No, I don't think I do. No. I'm going to go for... I'm going to rate this the same as last week, actually, 7.5.
Okay.
It's one of those episodes, that score could go up or down, and I think depending on the conclusion to it, if you see what I mean. Mm-hmm. But as an overall enjoyment factor score, 7.5.
Okie dokie. I am going to give this an 8.5.
8.5, okay. High.
Yeah, I thought this was a really strong story, very enjoyable. Loads of very cool questions unanswered, but in a good way. Like it keeps you sort of engaged and wanting to come back to it and stuff. So, yeah, really, really like this one, dude. And I'm sure it will be, but I'm hoping that this Sunday's ep is going to be a belter to finich up on. So
it's what you wanted. I think this is what you want from a series finale, from a first part, isn't it? It didn't let us down. I don't think it did deliver as a finale part one. It definitely did the business, I think. Yeah. It just needs to conclude well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. We don't want a Moffat style great part one and shambles of a part two. Sorry, Moffat.
Sorry, Moff.
I do love him.
Sorry, not sorry.
He knows I love him.
Right then. Adam has had to pop out of the TARDIS just for a few minutes, so I'm going to rattle through all of our listener reviews and thoughts this week. Starting with our audio reviews. We had a few in from our usual guys. Thank you so much. Let's kick off. This is Ian Stevens.
Hi, Ian from France here. So, the Ascension of the Cybernauts. Oh no, wrong show. Bit of a mixed bag this, starting off great, then dipping in the middle for a great final act. Jodie is kicking it this series, finally standing up and becoming the Doctor. Some great lines, delivered with conviction. I don't need your life story. Very strict. Here he is, the bad penny. Funny, but not childish. Keep it up, please, writers. Give us some edge, for God's sake. The lone Cyberman really looks and sounds amazing. What a performance from the guy in the suit. Menacing, yet a deep sense of melancholic trauma is evoked. Fabulous. But yet, the story really flagged for about 15 minutes in the middle, which is a shame, and maybe suggests this is being a bit stretched a little to fill the two parts. I hope not. The cliffhanger, well, felt a bit cheap, really. It's like, oh, we've got 30 seconds left, let's do something dramatic, but with no build-up to intensify the moment. I do need to mention the music, which, again, was fabulous. I love this new approach, which adds a pulsing rhythm that barely stops. Truly, the music in modern Who has never been better. I mean, it's no Sea Devils industrial clanking insanity, but it's damn creepy at times. Overall, thoroughly enjoyable stuff, and lends promise for a fitting climax to a really solid Series 12. Shame the viewing figures don't reflect the quality, though. Rock on 13. I'll give it 7 tortured cyber souls out of 10. Alors, c'est suffit. Je partis. À bientôt, mes amis.
Thank you very much, Ian, and I'm glad that you picked up on the music as well, because like I said a little while ago, it's good that we're hearing some of that cool stuff coming through. So awesome stuff, Ian. Thank you very much for your review. Moving on, this is Martin Arnold.
A minute to give you my thoughts on the Ascension of the Cybermen. Exhilarating. Didn't let up. It was dark, it was intense, desperate stuff as the Doctor fails to defend the last handful of humans ever, poor old humanity, from a relentless Cyberman army. Oh man, we've never seen him like this before. And the fam gets separated. Graham and Yaz are stuck on a space tin can floating towards oblivion, and then end up, out of the frying pan into the fire, so to speak. The last humans made it through some portal onto what I guess must be Gallifrey then, because that's what manifested there with the Master popping through. But what the deal is with with Duncan? Was it the Irish policeman? What is going on? I don't even know where to start. I'm guessing that's to do with the Time Lords, but I can only speculate. Hopefully next week won't blow it all. That's the Moffat in me speaking, but I think Chris Chibnall's pulled it out of the bag so far. I have faith. 9 out of 10. See you later.
Thank you very much, Martin. Kind of agree with you on that one, buddy. But yes, thank you very much for your audio review, as always, dude. Moving on, this is Sammy from Down Under.
G'day, Gary and Adam. Sammy Satine here. So, the Ascension of the Cybermen. I like the new design. Also, Yaz was great this week. Yay! Chris Chibnall. I think you haven't learned a valuable lesson Stephen Moffat should have but didn't learn. If you ain't got the time to develop the idea properly or answer all the questions you've raised, don't do it. Also, can we have a finale that doesn't involve the Cybermen, the Master, the Time Lords and Gallifrey, or the Daleks? Maybe the Weeping Angels or one of the other classic Who villains like Omega or something. Please? Thanks. I'll wait till part 2 to give it a rating. See ya.
Well, you're going to keep us hanging, Sammy. Oh, very cool. Get your trepidations, though. Yes, indeed, he will. I'm fairly confident that we won't have any of that stuff in the finale, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. Last review. This is Time Lord 0902.
Greetings, Big Blue from the Windy City. This is Time Lord 0902 with my review of Ascension of the Cybermen. I have not been a fan of Series 11 or 12, but I must admit this episode had a strong supporting cast, tolerable companions, a mystery in Brendan, and a lone Cyberman who came across as godlike in his pronouncements of Ascension. As to the miscast cosplayer, I have not been a fan of Jodie partly because of the writing, but also her acting. I felt that she was playing the Doctor, not being the Doctor. In this episode, I can honestly say she was the Doctor to me. Case in point was her comments about being reckless with her human companions. Color me shocked that the boundary was Gallifrey and that the Master shows up. But these quibbles aside, I am quite interested to see how the threads tie together next week. This was a very strong episode, 9 out of 10. Cheers, guys.
A 9 out of 10. Nice to see your score creeping up a bit, Time Lord. I know over the past few weeks you've not been too taken with Jodie in particular in the series. So good that this is hitting home a little bit more now. So yeah, cool. Thank you very much, guys, for your audio reviews. Very much appreciated, as always. And I appreciate that we recorded a little bit early this week. So thank you for getting those in. Very, very cool. Over on Twitter, what did our listeners think over there? So, at ZombieWho97 says, very solid episode. I love how much it is getting people talking. The Cybermen were done incredibly well. They definitely felt like a true threat. I thought the Master returning was a tad predictable, though, and I hope he isn't leading the Cybermen yet again. An 8 out of 10. Dooley_011 says, I had pretty weird feelings towards this one. Overall, really enjoyed it, but some parts of it were questionable. I felt like this episode will either live or die on the conclusion of next week's finale. Got a good point there. I wish the Master showed up way earlier than the end of the episode, because I have a feeling that next week's is going to have to cram a lot in to keep us satisfied. The whole theory about Ruth being a regeneration pre-Hartnell completely disrespects William Hartnell's legacy. He is the first Doctor, indeed. I loved the Brendan plotline a lot. Theory that he might be the timeless child could work. Yaz and Graham getting separated and having a lot of cool character moments was also lovely to see. But Ryan did feel a little useless in this one. Also, why does the Doctor keep on parking the TARDIS so badly? Surely she could have put this in an easier place to access than up on that big hill. Felt like a stupid writing choice. Overall, with flaws, I did like it, but will definitely rewatch after next week's conclusion. A 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10, not too bad. Joe Bowers. A thrilling action piece, although it's only setting up next week. Jodie again gives an excellent performance. However, the Master's return felt predictable and all of the guest cast were interesting. The Cybermen felt threatening and the best they've been since the 80s. A 7 out of 10. Thank you very much. _Yekim_Mikey says, it was much more enjoyable and the first episode this series I haven't zoned out of. Let me start that again. Michael. At Yekim_Mikey says, it was much more enjoyable and the first episode this series I haven't zoned out of. It had energy and moments of actual peril for a change. The soundtrack sounded spectacular too. Ryan was, as usual, a downside. 8 face drone things out of 10. Yeah, the face droney thing's weird. At awesome_Jess says, proper creepy episode with real tension to set up the finale. The Cyberheads were a nice touch. Adds to the Cybermen threat. Yaz and Graham together were great. Nice to see them work together. I'll give it 9 evil handles out of 10. Oh yeah, handles from the Matt Smith story, which I can never remember. But yes, 8 evil handles. Very cool. What else have we got? Our writer, Jordan Shortman, says, a solid episode, but it'll all really rely on the second part, I think. I liked the new Cybermen, thought they were really cool, but the Lumic Cybermen do look quite dated now. But I loved all the stuff on the big cyber ship, and it reminded me of Earthshock, and Yaz actually got stuff to do. Very much so. At Thomas96 Meehan, very short and sweet, just says confusing. What else have we got? At Mr. David J. Wilson says, so the Cybermen have evolved into the Borg. Only half time, but a big second half needed next week to save the season. Can't beat a football reference. Yanso Williams says, good episode, but I think it will either be amazing or really bad, depending on the second half. But Sacha Dhawan as the Master is superb. Yes, he is superb. Yes. John Griffith says, the odd clunker this year, in brackets, Benny, but we finally seem to be getting what we need. A proper threatening villain. Viewing figures won't show it, but we've got our Who back. 9 Siberiums. Cheers, guys. That is a shame, actually. Yeah, the viewing figures, they're not terrible, but not as much as the old days, quote unquote. But yes, we have got Who back, it seems. Sebling at Sebling G says, very decent episode. Enjoyed it a lot. I love the Cybermen, especially the Cyber droids, and the sidecasts were solid as well. 9 out of 10. Caitlin Dalek 100 says, a really good story. Not amazing, I think, but just great. I quite liked it, at least in evenly paced for me. I'm surprised the Sonic wasn't out as much as it was, and really loved the companions as well. The Cybermen designs are gorgeous, and I loved That cliffhanger, 7.5. Edward Galuli, a good entertaining space opera which will eventually stand or fall based on part 2. Of course, the ship was going to be full of dormant Cybermen. Some better music from Segan this week, another 7.5. At RiftFlix028 says, a great setup for the final episode introducing the Cyber Warriors. Great to see the RTD era Cybermen back, and the cliffhanger was amazing, if slightly predictable, an 8.5. At Davros1736, mostly set up, but good setup. Enjoyable, mysterious, and intriguing. It's a hard one to market on its own. We'll go for an 8, but if part 2 delivers as much as it needs to after all the promise, this mark could rise as the story as a whole could either be a 9 or a 10. At Heisenberg Pod says, I really need to wait and see next week's episode before giving a final score, but so far a 7 out of 10. Overall good. Too much stuff going on. I liked the Brendan stuff better than the main plot, and I assume he is a timeless child, right? ? Flying cyberheads were stupid, but Jodie was great. Indeedy. So that is all we had over on Twitter. Thank you so much for that. Over on Facebook, Zach Jenkins said, great episode. Finally felt like Jodie was the Doctor. Very excited for next week. A 9 out of 10. Jeff Waddle just says, outstanding, 10 out of 10. Colin Carey. Now, wasn't that a lot better? Just like the old Doctor Who's we used to watch. A 9 out of 10. Got to save the 10 out of 10 for next week. Great podcast, guys. Thank you very much, Colin. Andrew Cuthbert. I found myself leaning more towards the Brendan subplot and enjoying it more than the main plot. That's not to say that wasn't good. A good episode, though. A 7 out of 10. Millie Mackenzie. This was a 2 ice cream story. The first one I don't remember eating because this episode was so intense. I just had to have another. This was almost a Doctor-like episode with Ashad, Yaz and Graham all given room to steal the limelight. It was their episode and deservedly so. Next week will be the Doctor and Master Heavy, and it will be amazing. I think Brendan is the Doctor's very first incarnation. Haven't figured out how yet, though. 9 out of 10. Interesting stuff, Millie. Jamie Ackley. Sat throughout with the same tension I felt as a kid. That's also how Earthshot looked when I was 7. Goodness, breathless. Too good. Watched twice. Perhaps the same again before Sunday, at least. A 10 out of 10. Ulrich Hillmeister. Great episode. There happened so much I forgot to think about who I wish to appear. Good to see the Master again. I really love him. But why was there oxygen on the Cyberman transporter? And who might Brandon be? At first I thought this would be the background story for the lone Cyberman, but when he came to life just like Jack Harkness, I'm looking forward to the revelations next week. A 9.5. Charlie Turner. Splendid, and he is back again and still love him as I did in Spyfall. And I'm now hoping to this series won't be the same, or the only time we see him. Best episode of the series minus the Cyberdrones, which I find to be a bit cheesy, but sort of work at the same time. So a 9.5 out of 10. The finale looks like it's going to be a whopper too. It certainly does, Charlie. Ryan McGiven. Brilliant Cyberman story. The best of the new series era. This is a good sense of threats in the episode and seeing the cast use well in the story. The only thing that lets it down are the silly Cyberdrones. But a 9 out of 10 from Ryan. And lastly, Daniel Hickey says, fantastic. Now that's what we have been waiting for. The TARDIS team were all great in this. Loved the look of the new Cybermen and an exciting cliffhanger with so many questions. Is Brendan a Time Lord, timeless child, the old man at the end? ? And being an Irish fan was nice to see Ireland featured. A 10 out of 10 just left me wanting more. Wow. So I think overall then the average score is actually a 9 or a 9.5 even. There's so many 9s and 10s. Great to see Doctor Who coming back with these really high scores and stuff. Thank you so much, guys, for all of your reviews and thoughts and everything. As always, an awesome part of our show. Love hearing what you guys think to all of this. Next week, dude, I don't think we need to say much, but yeah, what we got next week for review?
So next week, can you believe we're saying this? It's the end of Series 12. It's the second part of the story, The Timeless Children, next week. So excited. I'm genuinely really, but a lot more than I was for the Rand score of Kavos or whatever it was blimming called. Do you remember that?
Avos.
It was a series finale.
Something.
What the heck? Like there is, it's just no comparison. Is there? This is what we've been waiting for.
Yeah, it's miles apart, isn't it? Yeah.
Bring it on, Chibbers. Deliver the goods, mate. Deliver the goods.
Indeedy. Yeah. Right, dude. I think we'll wrap there for 257.
Alrighty.
Thank you so much for sticking with us here and listening to episode 257. It's been awesome to chat through the Ascension of the Cybermen, and great to have you back, buddy, back in front of the mic. Did miss you last week.
Cheers, man. I'm so looking forward to next week, to reviewing next week's ep. It's going to be, I think we're going to hopefully have a lot to talk about.
I reckon we will, dude. I think it's going to be going to be a big one. Hopefully, I can't believe I'm saying this, hopefully we won't have any news on merch next week so that we can spend more time talking about this and the finale as a whole. But yeah, it's going to be a good one. Rightio. In the meantime, though, before next week, head over to our website, www.bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can listen to all of our shows over there. Plus, you can link off to the various podcast networks and apps. So make sure you give us a sub on whatever podcast app you listen to podcasts on so that you don't miss a show when they land every Friday morning. I'm also on the socials, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Just do a search for the Big Blue Box Podcast. You'll find us on there. Connect with us over there. We chat lots of Doctor Who during the week. It's all good stuff. We've got a great community of people, some really cool people that jump in and chat. Some cool Who. We're also on YouTube now as well. Just do a search for the Big Blue Box Podcast, and I'll link to it in the show notes as well. So that'd be cool to have you over there. I'm going to start live streaming regularly and doing some other bits and bobs, so that'll be good to have you included over there too. And also, head over to my co-host's YouTube channel, The Geek's Handbag.
Yes, go and have a look.
Go and have a butcher's, as Graham says, over at The Geek's Handbag. Some very cool videos over there, and Adam's recently started putting some stuff on there, so it's very, very, very cool. Grab a cup of tea.
The bear review.
The Build-A-Bear's coming, man, I'm telling you. Build-A-Bear unboxing. So, yeah, grab a cup of tea and go over to Adam's channel. And Adam is on the socials under the same name as well. Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Connect with Adam as well, so we can all chat Doctor Who like one big happy Who family.
Indeed.
So, until next week for episode 258, my name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And remember... Allons-y!